So I know they're not around as a company per se anymore, as they were sold to American Changer a few years ago. But if you have these Rowe changers, the BC 1400, 1600, anything that's got these hoppers in it, have you ever come into your place and noticed like, hey, there's a bunch of change in this one, but yet the orange light is on and says it's out? What's going on? Here is what's happening and why that's going on. So the Rowe system grabs the quarters from the bottom, and they're carried along this track by the chain and the pegs, and they go up normally. Here, I'll tip it this way so you can normally see how it goes. And it gets brought up through that track and would normally come out this hole right here. However, as you can see, the quarter fell. Now, what's been happening then is when your hoppers are full of quarters, that chain is grabbing quarters and bringing them up, but they're falling off the track just like you see. And this is why. If you look at this green track right here, it's got all of this dust and fuzz and lint and everything else like that built up on it there and along this side. And that's all simply because of oil and soap from people's fingers getting on the quarters. Maybe the quarters got wet somehow. It attracts all of that dust and everything, gets this track dirty, and then the quarters cannot come up the track. So the changer thinks that it is actually out of change when it is not. So how do you solve this problem so that you get the quarters coming through, the customers get their money, the coin cups are being refilled, and you don't have to worry about it? You've got to clean these tracks. How often depends on how busy your store is. For my stores, it's usually a once a month kind of thing. I like to go in and give them a good scrub. And what you want to start with is usually get a nice little scrub brush. Rowe used to sell these. You can still buy them at different places as part of it. And you want to scrub all of this dirt off. You can also use the back end of the stick as a scraper and scrape all of that off. You get all of the big, funky, chunky stuff off. So notice the stuff already on the end of this stick. So you get all of this gumminess off. And you take the brush and you break that all up. And most importantly, get this lip right here. See where that wall meets the flat surface? That lip right in there? That's the part you really want to get clean with this brush. Scrub away and scrub away inside that little lip. Because even if this green part, this flat part, is clean, if there's any kind of funk in between this lip and the flat part, this wall, you're going to knock your quarters off. As a matter of fact, you can see right here, look at all that funk right there where that wall is. There's no way quarters are going to make it up that high. So you just want to scrape the heck out of this thing with this brush. And you want to go all the way down. If you notice, this track curves. And so you want to make sure that you get the brush through here, all the way through. It's an S pattern. It goes all the way through. You want to get all of this, because this first one right here, this first part of the S, that is really going to knock all your quarters off, as you saw in that example. So you want to scrape all that off with your toothbrush. Now you might be thinking to yourself, as you're scrubbing away, you might be wondering, well, what is a brush going to do against kind of muddy, cruddy, ooky stuff? Well, you use the brush to get this stuff starting to brighten up. You can try and scrape it off all at once, of course you can, but the brushes are really the thing that get inside that little lip between the wall and the flat part. And that's what really helps break this stuff up, because a lot of times it's just fully and con scudge, and the brush helps get it out from the cracks and crevices there, that crease where the wall meets the flat part. And if you notice right here at the end of my brush, this is where the coins come up, and then it makes this curve, and you really want to get that curve right. So you got to spend some time. If it's like this one's really bad. Normally it doesn't have to take this much scrubbing. And by the way, for those of you, take and dump your quarters out first before you do this. Don't try doing this without dumping your quarters out, and you'll save some time. And you just got to break up all of this scudge, this slick stuff, sticky stuff, tacky stuff, whatever it is. And that's where the end of your brush and your bristles will help do that. You generally don't need to clean the chain. You can a little bit, but you generally don't need to. And you definitely do not want to put any kind of lubricants inside here. Don't oil it. Don't take spray and spray it in there either. However, you can use some little bits of solution to get stuff out of there too. Now, you're not supposed to spray anything in directly into the hopper, but you can spray stuff onto a rag. Pick whatever your favorite cleaner is, but make sure it's an alcohol-based cleaner. Don't get anything that's too soapy and will leave a film, because that will just make your quarters slide off the track. Wrap your rag around the end of your stick, preferably the side without the brushes, because you get more strength. And then once you've got that wrapped around your stick, just use that rag and press hard and get all that junk off the track. So you look how much cleaner that is from just when we started a second or two ago. Use the rag to follow that S all the way down, and make sure you get both sides. Don't forget, you got two sides, one on either side of this chain, so you got to get that clean. Look at all that. Now look at this. We got one side pretty decent. So when you've got it scrubbed out, you want to dump it out and just get all the crud out that you just scraped out. And look at that. And you'll find an extra quarter or two that didn't dump out from before as well. It's really starting to come along now. Shouldn't take you that long to care things. Now you notice right here on this side, see some little scudge right there. It's not as important for you to take off, but you can if you wish. It's mostly about the area right here, wherever the coins touch. That's the part you really want to get scrubbed up. And we're pretty close to being done on this one. We're going to go run through it one more time with the brush, especially this curve right here, taking care of that. And you just want to angle the brush like you see me doing, getting the bristles in between that crevice where the wall meets the flat part of the track. And this chain's got a lot of funk on it too, but that's okay. I'm gonna give this one more wet down with the towel, I think. All right, so we've basically completed everything here. I threw a couple of quarters in, and if you notice, they're traveling back up the chain and out that hole like you want them to. So now once you've got it all cleaned, what you should see is the quarters being grabbed by those pegs. They come up the track like this. By the way, notice I'm doing this manually so I can stop. Notice the edge of the quarter up against that wall. That's why you got to make sure that that is clean, and then it goes out and into the coin cups like it's supposed to. One other note about these, and I know that Rowe, they have conversion kits and things like that, but a lot of you might still have these hoppers in, even if you have converted them. You will notice that down in the bottom, if you can see, there is an edge of a quarter that's stuck in there. Don't take these things apart to try and get at one quarter. that quarter will be lodged in there for a while, but then what happens is you'll put more quarters in. Eventually it'll get dislodged. Of course, something else could stick in there as well, but once you take out all of these screws and everything, you get this hopper apart. It's really not worth it for just one quarter, so let it go. So once you do that, you should have a nice functioning hopper again. Your changers should be happy. Your customers should be happy because they're all getting their quarters again, and life will be good and you can go back to fishing. So I've just finished cleaning this second hopper. As you can, not as bad as the first one, but definitely much cleaner than it was when I first started this task. But one of the things that I just want to say before you go fishing, before you put your quarters in, if you've used any kind of alcohol-based cleaner in here, give it a second or two before you dump the quarters in after you're done. Just let that alcohol evaporate, everything else dry out in there. Like I say, never spray stuff straight into this. Always put it on a rag. It'll be pretty dry already, but even still, you just want to give it a couple of seconds to clear out so you don't leave any trapped residual moisture in there. Then you can dump your quarters in, and just like the first one, that empties out just fine. So now you can go fishing because you've finished both hoppers, because after all, all you do is collect quarters when you run a laundromat, right? Yeah, right. There's always maintenance that you have to do. There's always something to clean. There's always something to fix.